Good morning, America. My name is Michael Music. I'm 23. I'm from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and today I'm going to give a magnificent, compelling speech on the imagination. Right, this all comes from the book Think and Grow Rich. And there's a lot of ways that I can really take this speech, right? There's no real end to the imagination. But I'm going to really just start it off with a story, right? A story of an individual that used his imagination to create one of the world's greatest empires of its time, right? And then I'm going to talk about, right, the importance of having a compelling vision, and we'll wrap it up there. So, without further ado, thank you all for tuning in. It's Friday. It's Friday by day. It's time to get rich Friday. Let's get after it. So, I'm going to start this off with a little story because who loves a great story, right? There was this story in the early 1900s, right? It might have been even before the 1900s started, right? And there was this drug clerk, right? There was this drug clerk working the drugstore, not really making much, right? Not really able to advance far in life. And then there was this doctor from like the countryside that was visiting for the time being, and the doctor brought with him this kettle, right? This kettle, nothing too sexy about it, right? Basically able to whip up something special in there, but the doctor really had no use for it, right? So the doctor and the drug clerk met in the drugstore, and the doctor said, "Hey, listen, I'm willing to offer you this kettle, right, for $500, and I'll give you this slip of paper. It has this little recipe. You might be able to make something with it, right?" And understand, right? This is like early 1900s, maybe even like late 1800s, right? The drug clerk barely had $500 to his name. However, the drug clerk decided, you know what? I'm going to spend almost my entire life savings on this kettle and, see if I can make something out of it, right? So you might be wondering, why would anybody spend their life savings on a dumb kettle, right? But understand this, right? What that drug clerk was really purchasing was an idea. Right? The drug clerk was purchasing an idea that he saw in his imagination that he thought he could make something magnificent out of it. And today, you may know this company as Coca-Cola, right? One of the world's largest companies in the world, right? It's everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're going to see Coca-Cola, right? This single drug clerk, now is responsible. He's been responsible to employing, hundreds of thousands of individuals across the world, and really, bringing a product of value to the marketplace, right? So the idea here is this, right? Even though, at the time it seemed like a dumb idea. Oh, why would you purchase this kettle with your life savings, right? It's just, a kettle and a recipe, right? The doctor had no use for it, but the drug clerk, right? He mixed this special ingredient that you will never find in the grocery store. And that ingredient is imagination, right? He used his imagination to create Coca-Cola, to create, something entirely encompassing the entire world. And look at where it is now. Right, so that's the power that you have within you, right? You have the power to use your imagination to take what seems like such a small idea and make it so magnificent, so compelling that people want to follow your vision. And that's the conversation today, right? Napoleon Hill actually refers to the imagination as this, right? He said that the imagination is the workshop wherein is fashioned the purpose of the brain and the ideas of the soul. Right, I love that definition, right? The imagination is the workshop wherein is fashioned the purpose of the brain and the ideas of the soul. Right, we have to understand, right, we are given the greatest gift we can ever imagine, right? We are given the fact that we are able to have independent thoughts, that we have these higher mental faculties that allow us to think, right? And it is through the imagination that you can create a compelling vision for your future, right? Because, if you don't have a vision, right? If you don't have a compelling, magnificent vision for where you're going in life, then what's the purpose to life, right? You're just going through every day, just same old, right? If you don't know where you're going, right, then you may be wondering, what is the purpose to life, right? There's clearly a purpose to it, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The question is, do you have a purpose? Right? And it really comes, first, creating a compelling vision. Right? There's this one good book out there, right? I think it's called the Bible, right? It says, without vision, the people will perish. Right? If you don't have a vision for where you're going, then you're just doing the same thing every single day, right? What is the purpose to that? Right? You need to create this compelling vision so that, there's a purpose for you to get better. Right? And there's this one audio that I would listen to a lot. It was called The Strangest Secret. Right? And The Strangest Secret, it was told by Earl Nightingale. And in this audio, he talked about the importance, right? Why do 5% of the individuals succeed and the other 95% fail? And the strangest secret was this, right? He discovered that, most people don't have goals, right? They don't have goals for, them to reach out and go for. And, I absolutely love that, right? The Strangest Secret absolutely changed my life. I think it, realizing, how definite am I about my goals was game changer for me. But even furthermore, I think I can take it a step further, right? I remember then, additionally listening to Jordan Belfort, right? He was on speech and he was talking about the Strangest Secret himself. And he said, yes, goals are important, right? They're milestones and they cause you to stretch. But what's even more important than goals is having a vision, having a compelling vision for where you want to be. Right? And how do you create that vision? You create it through the imagination. Right? I think like goals are like the milestones to the vision that you have. Because, at the end of the day, nobody can dictate what you want to visualize for how you want your life to be. Right? Nobody can dictate your thinking. Right? Viktor Frankl was, the author of the book, Man's Search for Meaning. And, he actually went through the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. Right? But here's the thing, right? No matter how much physical and mental abuse the Nazis gave him, right, there was one thing that they could never do, and that was control his thinking, right? He always maintained that ability of independent thought. Right, so you have this ability, right? No one out there can ever tell you what to think, right? You have the ability to really, visualize what you truly want, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? So it really comes down to, okay, do you have the discipline to start creating this vision for yourself? Because if you don't, then somebody else is going to paint a vision for you, and most of the time, it's going to be something negative, right? Think about the news. Right, what is the news doing? Right, essentially, at its core, it's painting this vision of a world of violence and negativity. Right, is that right or is that right? Right, the news is going to paint a vision for you of how you don't want to live your life. And if you don't decide, the type of life that you want to live, well, guess what? Someone else is going to decide it for you. Right, what's that saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Right, you gotta be definite about the vision that you want for yourself, right? You have to start being like, okay, I have this imagination faculty. Let me start putting it to use. Or else somebody else is going to create the life that I don't want to live for me. Right? It starts, like I keep saying this, but it starts with that definite major purpose. Right? Why are you going to use your imagination? Right? Most people, as a matter of fact, use their imagination in the wrong way. Right? They worry about, what's going to go wrong? Are you going to be careful? Are you going to be safe? Right? They use their imagination to create a future of not what they want. Right? They worry about the wrong things. Bob Proctor says, if you're going to worry about anything, worry about the fact that you're going to get too rich. Worry about, what am I going to do with all this money that I'm earning? Right? That's what I'm worried about. Right? So it comes down, right? If you're using your imagination, what are you using it for? What is the definite end that you want to think? Right? And I think it really comes down to, I think most of men and women's problems comes down to the way that we actually think. Right? And, Neville Goddard talks about thinking from the end. And I think this was, a real big game changer for me, right? You got to start thinking from the end. Right? Don't think about, the current circumstances in your life. You got to be like, no. In my mind, in my imagination, where I'm already one of the most successful businessmen of my time, right? I'm the most compelling speaker. I'm a best-selling author, etc., etc., right? I have to start thinking from the end. And it is from this type of thinking, right? That's the reality that I create. Right? You gotta start, right? This is your world. This is your reality. Use your imagination. Create the reality that you want. And you know what? If people want to live in your reality, then good for them, because it's going to be quite an adventure, right? Right? I live in my own reality, and you know what? It's better than the world's reality, because most of the world's reality, right? 5% of the world's winning, 95% is losing. Most of the world's reality is so negative. Why would I ever want to live in their reality? Right? I got an imagination of my own. I visualize, what I want, and therefore, I have a direction in life. And it's all about having that direction in life that's going to, take you. Even if it's one step at a time, at least you're going in the right direction. Right? It starts with using your imagination. And then an additional point, right? Thinking you're rich, right? The thing about it is every principle intertwines with one another, right? Just because you're imagining it, right? Just because, you're thinking about the life you want, right? You're still going to need a definite plan and back that plan up with definite action. There's no getting around that, right? You need a definite plan. However, it's through the imaginative faculty that you start creating a definite plan, right? If you don't have some type of calendar, if you don't have some type of planner, right, then if you're just operating on autopilot, I can tell you right now, you're going to lose. You're losing the game, right? You need to have a definite plan, and you need to follow it. And then even more so, right? Yeah, maybe you got a Outlook calendar, maybe you got a Google calendar, etc., but it's for your work, right? Are you working on somebody else's business? Or are you working on your own business? Are you working on your own dreams? But you need to just schedule down, because let's call it what it is, right? If it's not written down, it's not getting done. If it's not written down, it's not getting done. You need to be definite about it, write it down, and really, start thinking about, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is when I'm going to do it, this is where I'm going to do it, right? And start with a plan. I don't care if your plan sucks at first, right? Not all plans are going to be great at first. But the thing is, you can always edit the plan. You can always improve the plan. It's just important that you actually start. Right? If you're just operating on autopilot, if you are just operating on the plan that the outside world is giving you, right, that is a recipe for failure, because the outside world, I'm not saying that they want you to fail, they just don't want you to succeed, right? The outside world wants you to be level with the entire rest of society, right? They don't want to see people that are like, oh no, I'm stepping up and I'm going to be great. Right? They don't want to see people like that because it intimidates them. Oh, why is he or she, deciding that they're going to go for this? Why am I not? Right? They're going to start getting uncomfortable, and they're going to do whatever they can in their power to bring you back down to their level, right? If you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, and one starts to try to climb out, what are the rest of the crabs going to do? Right? They're going to start grabbing that one crab and pulling him back in. No, don't go. Stay comfortable. Stay comfortable, right? I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with where I'm at, right? They call it, oh no, I'm just in my comfort zone. There's no such thing. You're not in your comfort zone. You're in your pain zone, right? Your life isn't where you want it to be. You just got numb to the pain. No, you need to create a compelling vision and become obsessed with that vision. It all comes down, using your imagination, creating that compelling vision, and then additionally becoming obsessed with it. You gotta become obsessed with the vision, right? That's where the burning desire comes in, right? It all intertwines. You gotta become obsessed with the vision, and then back that vision up, right? Create definite plans with continuous action that recognizes no such thing as failure, right? Persistence. It's all about persistence, right? It's the persistent individual that's gonna win. But there's no stopping that individual, okay? So, to reiterate the speech today, I talked a little bit, right, Coca-Cola. His entire life savings on one idea that he was banking on going to help him, get out of his current situation today. Look at where it is today. As small as that idea seemed to him at the time, look at where it is today. Right? Everything that you create first starts in the mind. and then the physical world, right? If you drive down your neighborhood and look at all the houses, right? All those houses first started as an idea. They all started as an idea. Then the architects drew up a plan, followed the plan, built the houses, and now look at where they are at now. Now somebody's living in them. That's somebody's new home, right? It all starts as an idea. It all starts because someone had a vision for what they wanted it to look like, right? So the imaginative faculty is essential, right? And it's just like a muscle, right? If you're not exercising this faculty, right, and it's just so dull, right? If you're not sharpening your saw every day, then it's just gonna get dull, and it's gonna stay stagnant. It's not gonna get any better. Right? You gotta be working on this, right? You gotta start thinking from the end. Think about the life that you want to live, right? Use your imagination. Think about exactly where you want to live. Be descriptive about it. Be definitive about it, and start thinking from the end. And start acting like it right now, right? It's like acting as if. So, that was the speech on Coca-Cola, and then additionally, right, without a vision, right, what is the purpose to life, right? A lot of people may be wondering what the purpose is. Well, I'll tell you what, you'll find the purpose when you have a vision for what you want, right? It comes down to you. It's not that there's no purpose to life. It's that you don't have a vision for your life, right? So create that vision, right? Be descriptive about it. Literally write it down. What do you want your life to look like? And start thinking from the end. Start acting as if it's already done. Start assuming that it's already done, and see how quickly your life will start to change. So, thank you all. Happy Friday. I appreciate you all for, we're here over 60 episodes, and, let's make today great, all right? See you all. Bye for now.